Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tyrone Brown. I am not a member of this specific community, but I am here, of course, in solidarity, and also I've done some volunteer work and helped in relation to IPAM. So we want to welcome you to the indigenous Francisville and Philadelphia community. We, of course, want to thank the Williams family for allowing IPAM, the roundtable, to host and record for rebroadcast in its entirety this meeting, where they will tell their story regarding the recent events of the fire that destroyed their family business, one of the last remaining original buildings from the colonial area in this neighborhood. But before we get started, I actually thought it might be good to get a sense of who's in the room, so don't be shy. I just want to basically just go around, or I'll just ask a show of hands, who is here from this specific neighborhood? Okay, yes. And who basically is from outside the neighborhood, like myself? Okay? Yes. So, some good representation here, my friends. Okay? So, now I want to give an opportunity for the family members to introduce themselves, and then we're going to go into some specific questions, okay? So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Miss Edna M. Williams.
Welcome, Miss Williams.
Thank you.
A.K.A. Miss Candido.
And would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
John Williams.
So, why don't we take an opportunity to talk about that first question we have in terms of the actual organization and building. Share with us a little bit about that. I'll give you this microphone.
Well, I mean,
How did you get it?
how do we
How'd
get
you get
started?
Yeah.
How do we get started? Okay.
Oh, you want to know how we got started? Everybody in this room know how we got started, but
Well,
I'm really tired of hearing me
hold
say
it. We grew up at 10th and Jefferson Manor. You know,
No,
that's where we
so-
come with brick. You know, that's where we come up from.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, that's where we was at. So
Okay.
the 10th and Jefferson moved to 17th and Norris. Yeah. But go ahead, Mom. Go ahead. Tell them how we got started.
Okay. How we got started on Ridge Avenue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How we got started on Ridge Avenue was the fact that Candido was working for Gene and Harold Lazar, Gene Lewitz and Harold Lazar.
And Candido was your husband, right? My dad. Right.
Yes.
Go ahead. You got it. Tell us the story now.
Yeah. Okay. Candido was your dad.
Your husband.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Let me finish the story.
Go ahead, man. I'm not going to interrupt no more.
Oh Lord Jesus. Okay, so we was working for Gene and Harold Lazar. We had a store. We had another restaurant at 1839 Market Street that was called Candy's Pig and Whistle. So when Gene and Harold, they were two first cousins, fell out, they gave us the first opportunity to buy the building. The building cost me $45,000, and I had to get a loan of $10,000, and my mortgage was like $42,000. Okay, so we made settlement in November of 1972, ownership in February of '73. Okay, so now with having a $42,000 mortgage, or $45,000 mortgage, I had to write 206 checks. 206 checks made out to JB Loans, and they had to be $305. And every Monday I had to deposit a check. If I missed 5, then they just took the building back. But in the meantime, I had to put up my property. I put 5 pieces of property worth over, I'll say $200,000 just to get 45. And every time we more or less like got into this is financial piece here, got more or less like things that started to come in had to be done, I would go to a Goldstein. He would let me have another $3,000. But we survived. We survived there. So I'm saying it was the building 1622 24 Ridge 1620. The restaurant part was worth, it was 19,000, and the bar was 20,000, and that came with the liquor license. Came with the liquor license, and also it was $10,000 upfront money to use. So really, when you buy bars, and they had a stigma on black people saying that they were alcoholics, we didn't know how to run things, we didn't know how to do things, and they had a habit of repossessing. So we went on with that piece there, and the city of Philadelphia approached me in 1977 to house homeless people. So we started to house homeless people with that. We had some good contracts. It's like $2 million, $3 million contracts, but with that contract, you have a top-heavy operating fee with there. So we did like 200. We was housing 200 people a night at the MaryJane. I was housing 140 upstairs, and I was housing 60 downstairs at the time. And we was doing three. I was doing 3 meals a day. So it was the fact I had a lot of volunteers that came in. We had Reverend Smith from Deliverance when he was on Broad Street. He contributed to us. We had a lot of churches that contribute to us, and a lot of the families that were there, their relatives contributed to us. So it really wasn't just when you have a contract with the city of Philadelphia. One time they took 6 months to pay me, and they owed me $135,000. So the guy said, you're in the big league. So when you get in the big league, you better have another, as you say, there's a poor person that don't have more than one. Yeah, one, yeah. So with that piece right there, I saw with the bar, the restaurant, and the hotel, because when I came, the hotel wasn't operable. But this guy, Williams, came in one day, and he went upstairs and he fixed the bathroom. I went down on 300 block of Ridge Avenue, and I got some wallpaper for I think 50 cents a roll, and I fixed one room. I rented it out for $25. I took that $25 and I continued to do more rooms like that. But that was on my third floor. But on my second floor, I was able to sell a piece of property and fix that up with the carpet and the wallpaper, things like that. So it's a struggle. It was a struggle, but I had God in my life. I had all of y'all support me, your mothers. I keep on telling the Keys. I wish you could get that counter over there because Mr. Keys put that counter up there.
Yeah, please.
And Grease Man tried to.
And the doors up there too that your brother put up.
Grease Man put the counter up there, but Mr. Keys put up there, and it's still there. So you figure that's been up there for 50 years. Yeah.
And she's speaking truth there, but I'm gonna jump in. Can I jump in a second?
Yes, go ahead.
But the thing about, even though the number she said like $2 million and stuff was astronomical and things like that, we weren't really getting like that because they were holding our money for so long. They was holding us up. I mean, it was like they was holding us up 6, 7, 8, 9 months just to get paid. And by the time we got it, that's how we had to borrow money, and it was a mess.
But it's in the big league. When you're in the big,
yeah, that's how they do.
Yeah.
That's how they do.
But
it wasn't for y'all helping us, being there for we family.
Yeah, if it wasn't for y'all,
you know what I mean?
Like Miss,
you know what I mean? We ain't have it like that. It might look good, but it's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Miss Dandridge, she helped me an awful lot.
Oh man,
she
your
helped
mom.
me a lot. And Miss Salmon,
all y'all.
all of y'all would come and
all
sit
y'all.
there, and Miss Eunice and Mr. Stanley sit there,
Penny, your mom. Oh, y'all.
And Pancho across the street.
All y'all.
All y'all supported us.
All y'all.
All of y'all supported us. So what wasn't the support of the neighborhood, we wouldn't have survived.
I'm telling you.
We wouldn't have survived. So I just appreciate all y'all coming tonight. And even the lady right here, she doesn't know, Asha don't know, but her father had a store down the street at Broad and right there before you get to Dryden Avenue. It was called a confectionery store because you would go get your potatoes, your pretzels, and you would get you would get all your tall paper goods down there, and your cigarettes, and then that's when he moved down here. So that wasn't a beauty salon; it was a store where you could buy like a dollar store. Yeah. So it changed, and I saw the big change. When they put drugs out there. When they put the drugs out there, it destroyed the neighborhoods. And what happened was It was North Philly's destroyed. No, it was Mount Erie a little teeny bit. Then it came to North Philadelphia, and the last part they hit was Southwest Philadelphia with the drugs. That destroyed the neighborhood. It did. So it destroying the neighborhood. The kids that now said the attention span. Those are the I don't want to use the crack babies, but those are the children. Their mother used those drugs. So they don't tell you that would affect the head on the child that the mother was carrying. Because I know we had one girl, she did drugs up until 12 o'clock that night. We rushed her to Pennsylvania Hospital and delivered the baby, and the baby came with, wide eyes, Yes, so I run it down. Everybody know I used to be a maid, and I used to be worked in a private family. Boarded John out by the month. Like I said, I was a maid. My husband was a chauffeur. I was making $300 a month. I worked for Mrs. Fox on the Fox Theaters, and then like there, I went to Lambertville, and I worked for Mr. Perkins, chairman of the board of Strawberry and Clothing. $300. That was for me and Dito. That's what we made. But guess what? Free board, he had a room, uniforms, and we ate good. And we learned. I learned how the rich and the famous live. They don't live no better than y'all live. Okay? They don't live any better. They sit and do the spoon and talk. But guess what? I learned. So I learned to play the game that they play. So now, as I go fast forward, John, every morning I go to Bryn Mawr College. And sit down there with the CEOs there and talk with them. I go to Villanova and speak, and I go to other. There's two other colleges up there that I speak at, Shipley. And they say, "Come on up." Yesterday was Friday. I got a telephone call from Senator Casey. Came yesterday. We went out to eat. Yeah. So he said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "Well, I want to rebuild and feed the people. I ain't going nowhere." Yeah. He said, "Well, I can't promise you nothing. I want you to know," he said, "I can't promise you nothing." But I said, "Yeah, my God. I'm depending on God." And he's running for election. He says it's a tough run this time. I said, "But I'm going to help you." So with the tables, he said, "You going to help me?" He said, "You got a lot of energy." I said, "I'm 85 years old. And another 4 months, I'll be 86. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say it's a testament to you and your family, especially us understanding when you started, because that's pretty amazing to have purchased this building in the early 70s. And separate from the issues that you're facing at the moment, you own property and a building. So I just want to acknowledge that is pretty amazing on your part and your family's part. The other thing, too, I just want to highlight in terms of the bureaucracy that you talked about. And so when we think about ways in terms of moving forward, whether it's this or with other issues, and especially for those people who are listening to this conversation today, this expectation from those, especially in government, to understand the ways in which they get in the way. So they kind of offer and take away at the same exact time. Why? Maybe inefficiencies in terms of being able to follow through on the promise that was, and what have you. And so, but we as citizens can have the expectation to say, we're not going to go down the same line that maybe the Williams family had to struggle in relation to my business. If you're going to pay, you need to take into consideration the reality for us as citizens in terms of running this business. So those are just some of the things I hope that we can kind of take away from that. We want to go into some really specific questions, and we want to respect you in terms of what you want to talk about or don't want to talk about around the actual incident. So, John, could we start with you? Because my understanding is that you were the first person who kind of recognized what was happening in the building.
Yeah, I just dropped her off to spend some time with some of her senior friends, and I got back, I guess about 3:15, and I heard a fire alarm go off. So I ran back to see what zone it was in, and it said zone 2. So I ran upstairs, and I saw room number 9 on fire. I tried to when I went to go run to the fire extinguisher. I seen the fire come on the door like that, and it went back, and the third time it came out, it went back, and all the smoke went with it. And I tried to run, everything, and all the glass and everything broke out. So I just ran back out the building. But everybody that was in there, it was only 4 people at the time. They had already been out. So I ran across the street. And as I was running across the street, I turned back to look, and I could see the fire. It was like climbing up the wall like a spider. Like it was just, yeah, it was going up the wall like a spider. So I ran over here, and I told them, and they said, hey, you know, John, we're coming right over. And they was running over, putting their boots and everything on as they were coming out. They got here, and, you know.
Thank God the ladder came there just in time.
Yeah, I was
That's
going
right,
to mention that. Yeah, thank God.
Yes, they did.
You're right about that.
They did.
Yeah,
It was wonderful.
Yeah, that was
It
wonderful. Ladder 1 and 13, and they were really helpful. I mean, they were really on Johnny on the spot. They were there. They were there. Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
were.
Nobody
They
got
were.
hurt. You know,
Was there a lot of combustible stuff where the fire originated at? A lot of, you know.
well, I mean, you know, it was. I mean,
We
it was-
don't know.
We
We
don't
don't
know,
know.
but
We don't know.
you just have to know that it was somebody's room. They had
We don't know.
their stuff in their clothes and things like that. You know what I mean? You just, you know, it just happened. It went up, yeah. And plus, it was an old building, so that wood's been like, it's like over 80 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, and they built buildings back then. You see, it was still standing at that fire took it down. Okay, it was still. It took all that water, all that stuff, and they were able to go back up in there. They don't build them like that no more. And the guy told me the type of brickwork that they use is called butter, five, yeah, and it's real thin. They don't use that no more, but it's real tight, and that's what saved it. You know.
Mrs. Williams, so how did you hear about it? When did you hear about what happened?
I was up in the Northeast, and Janice down the street had called me on telephone. She said, Miss Williams, your building's on fire. Yeah, so and then finally I got to John. I asked him to come pick
I
me
was
up.
telling her don't come. I was trying to keep her away. You know.
But it didn't affect me, tell you, because I didn't, you know, it's in life, God prepares you. Because prior to that, my son Joe and I started to give away all the clothes, and then we had a lot of canned goods that was out of date, getting rid of that. And prior to that, Joe told John the fire certification will be here on the 8th. So I said to myself, thank God, fire alarms went off, no code violations, and nobody got hurt. Okay?
Yeah, that's
but they took us
important.
through, good, ask me.
Here, just one moment. We want to make sure we get so that the recording catches you.
I'm Edith Dandridge from the Dandridge family, and I just want to say, I feel your pain. I really do. I hurt for you, because you served this community for so long, and I mean, like I tell anybody, if you didn't get a loaf of bread, you got clothes. If you didn't get clothes, you got something to eat.
If you
Somebody, all of us,
Thank
you have served us,
Thank
and you have done it for a number of years.
Thank you,
And from my heart and my family, we appreciate it.
thank you, thank you.
John, I'm glad that nothing happened to you that way. I thank God for that, because you described something to me that I'd never seen. Fire. You know, and you lived to tell us this. Don't too many people live to tell that story. So don't forget that story, okay? And you look like your dad.
You know, in keeping in line with these questions, so we have a few, and it's probably going to answer some other things that people might have. And once again, you don't have to answer if it's not appropriate or not, but I'm just going to kind of go down the line, just some basic stuff, okay? So here's one. Did the fire marshals investigate, and what was their conclusion?
We still, when they left Friday, my engineer, they left Friday, okay, and told my engineer that they would send a report to Illinois. As of yet, I don't know. Okay, so I have to go down to Illinois tomorrow morning. Yes.
Was the building up to code?
Yes.
Yes, it was up to
Everything
code.
was
It
up to code. Yeah.
It was up to
Yeah,
code.
that's the first thing they asked. They asked
That's
that.
something you
They
do.
wanted
You make
they
sure the
wanted to
building
know.
was up to code.
Yeah, because
because
if they wasn't, they would
they-
put it in their papers. They would
They
have
would,
printed
said,
that.
they would tell you right away, you know, up to code. Because what happened is,
That's a good question.
number one, you know, it was the fact, it was a fire down, I think around fifth of either market or third market. They had the fire escapes like we had. So now, fire escapes like that has to be certified every 5 years. And if you go beyond the fourth floor, you're supposed to have a fire tower. Okay? And it also was the fact that prior to that, we had to buy 25 fire doors, which cost me $250 a piece and $500 installment. So you had to have fire doors. And also on top of that, all these 53 years, the exit to the fire escape on the third floor, you go through the bathroom. The fire marshal said, "Oh no, you can't do that no more." He said, because somebody might be in the bathroom, in the tub, and when the alarm goes off, they can't get out the door. So we had to eliminate that exit and do another exit. So that other exit came with, you had to do the steps, you had to do windows, put the fire door, and put an exit sign up there. So it was like, prior to that, it was the lid paint. You know, any units over three, any buildings over 3 units, you had to put lid paint certification. So that meant that you had to put all the furniture on the walls. So I had 22 units. So I said, well, can I just say tenants to know you got to do all 22 units? So that was another hardship on us to do that. Then also, trying to get our license. Every time we get our license, you know, they would say, well, you have to pay it all at one time. So then we did the lid paint piece there, and two of the rooms failed. So when they came back out, that was $19. Okay, so we had that done, but it was always something. And prior to that, when they was putting that the building up there, the scaffold, they put 4-story scaffold on my kitchen, and I told them and to take it off, and they let it stay there. And I got my lawyer. They said, "Oh, it's an old roof anyway."
That's
so
what they
finally,
did. Yeah.
we made them take the scaffold off. But in the meantime, they put a hole in my kitchen roof. Okay? And then also when they went up on did their roof, they ruined my roof also. They put holes in my roof, and then I called L&I. So L&I said, "Okay, that was another violation."
So you're saying, is the they another building?
Yeah.
The new developers
next door to
They
us.
had to stand on top of
Yeah.
our building in order
'Cause
to do work on their building.
They actually came in one morning. They started on the third floor side. She's correct with what she said, but it started on the third floor, the Ridge Avenue side. Came in one morning, had the scaffold up there. They just put the stuff up. They didn't
4
ask us
feet.
nothing like that. So we had like a whole side of our building that wasn't operable, and it was raining. When it would rain, we would get water in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They never reimbursed us for that.
Nope.
I mean, they never
Nope.
we tried to get money from them.
I think
They
they
told
said
us,
for
you know,
$23,000 to give it.
So
They're very arrogant. Very,
yeah,
very
so
arrogant.
we had whole. I mean,
Very, very
we had
arrogant.
pictures of everything, and they messed our roof up. They just every time it was always something like what she was saying with the fire doors. They would come out and say all this stuff was supposed to be grandfathered in, but they were always trying to come and say, "Well, you got to do fire doors now," and we had to do a whole new fire alarm system. We had this is not. You got to change it. It was always something. They was always coming at us with something. It was just always something. We were always downtown L&I, or it was like, wow, are you guys,
But
serious?
I saw, I have to say this here, I saw how the developers did with another business in this area, because they had violations and the person didn't have the money to fix the violations. And I found out that the developers would harass the person in selling. And then I felt as though L&I would say, you got these here violations, and the person can't do the violation, and then the developer said, well, you sell. I can't do the violation. And you say, so then you finally can't fix the violations, and the developers come in and get your property and say, look, take the property.
Yeah,
So they beat you down.
That's why we were never
down.
able to have any, because it costs so much money to get these things. When by the time they put the penalty and the interest on you, I mean, that stuff is coming up every day. And
Well, this
when
is
they
what
want
they-
it done, they want it done. You know what I'm saying? They're hitting you hard. So you got to pay an attorney, and it's not cheap. So it's like we couldn't keep any financial liquid
No.
happening, because it was always going out the door.
Always
going out the door.
well, so I think once again, this is, excuse me, I'll get away from
That's
this.
okay.
I think this is another thing to highlight because it comes back a little bit more that kind of bureaucracy that you're dealing with, whereby the city, state, what have you, has all of these expectations of you, and you're also dealing with fines. But then it's also juxtaposed with, because we also live in a country, we compare to other places, you hear about fires and stuff that happen all the time around the world where they don't have necessarily those precautions in place and people suffer on a whole different level. So I just share that because I want to acknowledge that it's amazing, once again, after all these years, you've been dealing with all that and once again still have had the property to this day. So it says something about you, okay? So I want to put that out there.
Thank you.
But also, too, for everyone and those who are listening, especially if you're going to own a building or even just buying a home, you know there are those issues in relation to the person next door, whether it's a developer or what have you, and they can have that negative impact on your property, and the ways in which the city maybe is not doing enough to remedy that. So it speaks to a lot of things.
Well, I want to say this here.
Okay, real quick.
I don't mean to go on against you, Ms. Williams, but maybe the new building got their karma for what they did to you. You know what I'm saying?
Say what?
I didn't think about that.
They got their karma because they wouldn't pay you for what they did to your spot. And that was their way of trying to alleviate you to get you off that corner. They not slick.
Can you just repeat that so it's on the camera?
I'm
So,
just
now,
saying.
what did you say?
I didn't want it to be like I'm saying anything bad towards Miss Williams, but the new people got their karma. They messed you up like that, did cause you all that rift, and they didn't want to pay you.
That's correct.
Right.
And you know, and it just unfortunate that it happened, but it happened.
It did. It did.
So they have to fix up their spot too.
Right, I got you.
But you know, but to come out there, they're very arrogant. To come out there to look out the window, and then you get to see 4 stories of scaffold,
Right.
and you tell, and then I tell them to take it down. They wouldn't take it down until my lawyer said cease operation.
Right.
And that's when I came to Monday when they moved it down. And then in the report they told my lawyer it's an old roof anyway. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, real quick.
In our neighborhood, you know, we, being in, well, my family been in the neighborhood. My family been in the neighborhood
That's
for
right.
over 60 years.
That's right.
In
Or
one-
more.
One house.
That's right. That's right.
Several of them throughout, other family members, but one house.
Yes.
Over 60 years. And here, we the children, and our children can't even afford a house in this neighborhood. And that's a problem.
Yes, it is.
And that's a problem because we want to come back to where we were raised at, you know. Now we have to do a commute down. Huh.
And once again, folks, now this is another thing that's really important for us to also hear from you. So don't be shy, especially in terms of talking to the microphone, because the other thing too is this: it's about controlling the narrative. The family is doing it right now by speaking and us also recording this versus everyone else who thinks they know or doesn't know, and especially those who maybe not, on the right side of this, who will talk about it in ways it shouldn't be talked about. And so hearing from you is just as important. So speak into the mic so we can all collectively control this narrative. So here's a question. Do you feel that the fire was intentionally set?
No. 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 No.
No, I don't.
No.
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 No. Nope. She just told you the karma.
It's good. We're getting that out. Just 'cause that's
No.
a question.
No, I had some-
I think they
no.
did it. I mean.
No.
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 Okay. Well, that's good.
Good. See, we control the narrative. The fire was not intentionally set. So what's good too is that when we or others talk about it, if that comes up, you can say the family said no, and then they move on from it. Okay, controlling the narrative. Okay, my friends, what about this? Where are the residents who were living in the building now? Where are they? How many people are we talking about?
17.
17. And where were any in the building at the time? / are they okay? And where
Everybody's
are they now?
fine. 3 was in there, and American Red Cross placed them. Plus, they gave them, I think it's $250 of vouchers, and we keep in constant contact with them. I think in the shelter, I think somewhere in your, on Carlisle Street, that, yeah, right there. And we visit them, make sure they have clothes and what they need. We still got a lot of donations from our friend Jim McDermott up in St. Luke's Methodist Church. So we have my car is, we got men's clothes in there now, toiletries, shoes, and socks and shorts.
You got Miss Louise helping you over here, Miss
Yeah.
on
Yes.
off of Girard Avenue too.
Yes.
Is
So-
it safe to say that that a lot of their personal property, though, was lost in the fire?
Yes.
Of course, yeah. But everybody, they were allowed to have microwaves in there. They had refrigerators, air conditions. Yes.
Okay.
But that's why we're going to build again, and we keep in contact with them because it was our family. They weren't just someone that was there. They were family. Like we had Miss Armstrong lived there for 37 years. That was the lady. She's up in off of Ridge Avenue in the nursing home. She's 91 years old. She went blind. And then we had Blake there was 35 years. He died. Yes, Blake was there for 35 years. So the question what you asked me, people, that was their home. That was their home. They would come and 15 and 20 years stay there. Yeah, that was our family. And the gentlemen were there. They were our family. I always said it was some mother's sons and daughters. Yes, you just don't treat them like anything like this. Everybody here, I know all the mothers, the fathers. Yes, so we're family. We're family. Yes, that's what we're going to build and come back and feed and educate you. We're doing this generation wealth.